As a youth living abroad, and many of you don't knowing Rwanda, it's good that you have this opportunity to come and visit your country and know about the history of your country. From here, you will be equipped with all you need. You will need to talk to your colleagues who have not been able to come with you, and we'll be able to tell them about not only the liberation history of this country, but also about the journey this country has made since 1994. If you have been able to visit some other countries, African countries, you will see that eventually Rwanda is doing better than many of those countries which have not gone through difficulties like the one we went through. We had the genocide in 1994. The genocide itself was followed by many other, we were confronted with insurgency in this country at various times, but yet we were able to rebuild the country and eventually to perform better than many other countries in various sectors. You know that Rwanda is highly ranked in many sectors, in doing business, in health, in very many sectors where Rwanda ranks better than many African countries which had not had genocide or other conflicts. But the main achievement we can be proud of is the rebuilding of the Rwandan society around values like unity, reconciliation, and just putting together a nation which is built around the same values like culture, like our common history, but also building on these values which bring us together and put aside or deal with these other elements which were used by colonialists to divide us and which eventually led us to the genocide and the violent history of this country. I was going to say we have done our part. We are still contributing to the rebuilding of this country, but you will be requested to take over and do your part today and tomorrow. I'm saying today because even today you can do something about, you can give your contribution to rebuild this country and to put it on a trajectory which will take it to, which will put it in this country which are developed, which we have still challenges like poverty, like even those good things we have done in this country about unity, about reconciliation. We just need to keep the momentum, and this will be your task as the youth. And even from abroad, you know, there are very many ways of looking at Rwanda from abroad. You know, you are living with people who are just on social media destroying the image of Rwanda and trying to find wrong things about the country, even where those wrong things are not there. They're just distorting the history of this country, and they believe that with the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, as you are being told about those notions in the way we are living, they are abusing them and think that it is good to say wrong things about your country, it is good to say wrong things about the leadership of the country, because that's part of the freedom of expression, the freedom of speech. It is democracy. So, but as Rwandans, we need to stick on our values. We need to be able to say Rwanda is our country, Rwanda is our nation, and we have values. We have values of patriotism, we have values of self-awareness, we have values of integrity, and we need to contribute positively to the building of our country. We should be able to challenge all these characters who are just around and think that it is good, it is democracy, it looks good to criticize. Criticize is good. To criticize the leadership, but it means also that you need to say, eventually, it will be good to do this way rather than the other one. This is about positive criticism I'm referring to. But just to go out there and say, no, Rwandan leadership is wrong on this or on that, and think that it is about democracy or freedom of expression. You need to put all these in the context of your values, in the context of your country and its history, and that's what we are expecting from you. And of course, in the future, we'll be able to come here and do some work in this country, either in the public sector or just invest in private sector. But you just need to understand that this is your country. The people, the leaders you are seeing here today are giving their contribution. Some of us have done it in the past, some others are joining in the process, but tomorrow it will be yourselves. But even today, you have a contribution to make. And I think this visit you have made to various sites, these talks we are having with various leaders in this country are just contributing in building, in giving you the package you need to be able to contribute positively to the building or the rebuilding of your country. So I hope that maybe in the interaction we're going to have, we'll be able to go into details and maybe respond to your questions and be able to complement what you have learned during this visit. And I just stop here and once again commend your initiative and request you that once you are back in your countries of origin, you will be able to tell the story to your colleagues and encourage them to do the same, to visit. And in the meantime, just make sure you transmit the values I have been talking about. Make sure you will be able to tell them about your trip here. And we hope that in the future, some of you will come back with other groups, and that it will be good that every year you have a group as big as yours, from Europe, from America, and from various African countries, so that we have you with us on this journey. And in Nyarwanda, we used to say, when we refer to Rwanda, Rwanda is not about this territory you see on the map. Rwanda is bigger than that, because we are part of Rwanda, and from where we are living, we used to say, Rwanda Rwanda. When we greet each other, sometimes we are asking someone who is in Denmark, Rwanda mumeze mute? Rwanda, it means you are there as a Rwandan, so Rwanda is there as well. Rwanda is not just about the territory you can see on the map. It is about yourselves who are living abroad in various places and who share the same values, the same culture as ourselves who are living here. Well, this is about Rwanda. So we want you to take Rwanda where you are living, and we want to have Rwanda expanding where you are living by expanding by your values, expanding by your culture, and that's what we expect from you. So let me stop here, eventually be able to say more when responding to your questions. Thank you.
Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation and the friend of youth, General James Kabarebe, I thank you very much for this opportunity, and also want to thank the youth for the great initiative, the Rwanda tour, that you're touring in Rwanda, and you want to take back the message. I think just want to build on what the Honorable Minister mentioned, that Rwanda is in you, and you are Rwanda. You carry Rwanda's DNA in you, so you cannot separate from Rwanda. It is in you. Rwanda comes from the word or the verb kwanda, expansion. So wherever you go with Rwanda. I just want to highlight a few things that I was requested to talk about. I think in the talking points, I wanted to focus on how do we as a ministry inculcate values in the Rwandan youth, within Rwanda and abroad, which are embedded in our cultural heritage. I'll keep on mixing English and Kinyarwanda. Some words I might not have appropriate word in English, so you might help me as well. And it is wonderful to have you. We've been having virtual meetings. Actually, I want to applaud the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the good work they're doing, and the embassies and the Rwandan community abroad. We have been engaging youth in the past period during COVID-19. It has been a blessing in disguise that we've been having a lot of interactions. I see some of you that we've met online, and others we are meeting this afternoon. And it is really great to always hear your voices, to hear your aspirations, to hear your visions, and what you want to do for Rwanda. So this initiative is part of it. And it's also very good to have the Rwandan spirit that wants to reconnect to their roots. So you're reconnecting to your roots, you're reconnecting to your country of origin, of birth. I have had some of you, you have never come to Rwanda, or you're born elsewhere, and you're here. So we are glad to see you, and you're part of us. When we say cultural heritage, umurage, I just want to do it in a flip chart. And I see the flip chart is here. If you allow, I just want to draw a few things just to show what is in the culture that we're talking about. Umuco wacu nuuhe, nizihe ndangagaciro that we want to pass on to you through our cultural heritage. What is the cultural heritage, and what is in the culture that we're talking about? Every nation has their own culture. And what a culture defines one person from another and identifies you as someone, a specific group. So that is identity. And in that identity, can I write from there? About how do we transfer these cultural values as a ministry in charge of youth and culture? How do we transfer that to the next generation, to the young people, yourselves and others that might come after you? So umurage, as I said, is your identity, is what identifies you from being a Belgian. So what identifies you is the kind of values that you have that identifies you, and everyone would say, this is a Rwandan by origin, not a Nigerian. This is a Rwandan, not South African. No, this is a Rwandan, not an Asian. You get those experiences all the time, and people say, this must be from Rwanda. Yeah. So it's what identifies you as such. And so the identity I'm talking about as umurage is what defines you and what you stand for. And what you stand for. If you don't stand for anything, you fall for anything. And in this case, most of the time, youth abroad, they always have identity crisis. The identity crisis is you don't know what you stand for. You don't know who you are because of a lot of information on the social media. A lot of people who want to distort our history. Some people who created havoc, who created disasters in Rwanda, they are creating other stories and other histories. And so there's identity crisis. In that identity crisis, what we do and what you have done is to create identity clarity and ideological clarity. By coming here, you're going to go back with clarity of your ideology and clarity of your identity. You will know who you stand for, you know who you are, you know your own values. And one of the values, or what identifies us, is Nyarwanda. You know, over the period of time, we have been living in a world. 27 years ago, we were identified as Abahutu, Abatutsi, Abatwa, and less of Umunyarwanda. If you want to continue with Ubututsi, Ubutwa, Ubuhutu, there is no added value. What is most important is Umunyarwanda. That is our identity. That is what consolidates us. That's what cements us. That's what mu Kinyarwanda babyita isano muzi, iduhuza. Umuzi, a root that connects us all together. You see all these trees, they connect to each other. Some weak trees, their roots can go deep down in the underground and feed on strong trees. And you find the trees not dying, even if it is in arid period or dry seasons, because they feed on each other. So that muzi, that root, that Ndumunyarwanda that builds us and combines and brings us together is what should be our identity. So we are also trying to reclaim our identity. Reclaim our identity by creating a network of like-minded people like yourself, this network that you have. We need to have identity which is devoid of divisionism. Instead, we should have unity. We should have this network which is going to spread love instead of hatred, care instead of hatred, which was in our past. We should have this network also leveraging on your expertise and create worthiness, agachiro, where we used not to have agachiro. Some of us were born in exile, and we grew up knowing that we are refugees, and you never have value until you have your own country and your own identity. However much you perform in school, they always say Akanyarwanda, and Akanyarwanda sounded unworthy. Someone, secondary citizen or third-class citizen. But when you have your own identity, wherever you are, and you know you have a country of your own, you have value. And especially Rwanda, that the Honorable Minister talked about, with the ranking, with the performance, with good governance, we have a good leadership, and so everyone wants to emulate. If you see the youth of Africa, when they ask them, I think you've seen all that on social media, they ask them, which other country would you want to stay in other than your own country? They would say Rwanda. And they say, why? You see many reasons they give. Because of good leadership, because of the journey they took, the state of the nation, the development they have achieved, that we want to learn and go back and do that in our own countries. So we have become a role model. And wherever you are, as you carry Rwanda with you, you should be also role models. As I also come to conclusion to what I wanted to talk about is how do we embed the values in our young people? The values we're talking about are embedded in our constitution. It's good that we're seated in the parliament. And the constitution talks about 4 key ones, but we also have other values that we develop that comes up secondary, but all aligned to these 4 core values that we stand for as Rwandans, as embedded and enshrined in our constitution. The first one is Ubumwe. Ubumwe bw'Abanyarwanda. Ubumwe is unity. Divided is not a strength, but the strength is always when you work together. The second value is gukunda igihugu, patriotism. The reason why we're so proud of our country today, other than when we were 27 years, we were not proud of it because you are even shy, ashamed of being a Rwandan because you are a refugee, and you didn't have that stand to say, I am a Rwandan. You would find to isolate or associate yourself with other people or other tribes or other nationalities. You don't have to do that this time because you have a country that you call your own. And gukunda igihugu is not just words. Gukunda igihugu is not to love imisozi wabonye, imibibaya, is to love the people of that country. And otherwise, it's implied that you love the people and you love the nation itself and you are ready to die for it at whatever cost because you want to save your country and you want to save your own people. The first one is ubumwe, unity. The second one is gukunda igihugu, patriotism. The third is gukunda umurimo. Murabyumva gukunda umurimo? Work. And those ethics are really much in your own countries where your residence. But also umurimo, gukunda umurimo. The country has developed this far because of hard work. Gukunda umurimo, ariko umurimo unoze. Excellency. Don't do work like anyone else. Don't do partly. Ntugerageze. Ujya wumva abantu bavuga ngo urakora akazi ndagerageza. Don't. Ntugerageze. Do it extremely excellently or don't do it completely. Ariko ntujye hagati ngo uragerageza. So gukunda umurimo kandi umurimo unoze. Gukora umurimo kandi umurimo unoze. The last but not least is ubupfura. Ubunyangamugayo. Those are the values. Those are the soft skills. Those are the assets that individuals have. Even if all of you are engineers, and one has an extra added value of integrity, ubunyangamugayo, they will take you other than another one who is very excellent like yourself. So what identifies you or what distinguishes you? What is your value proposition if you say in business that would identify you different from any other person or any other student? Is that ubupfura? And those are in 4 values that are in our constitution. And how do we pass all these values? Because it's not something tangible that you see. It is over time. It is in the mindset change. It's in the behavior change. That's when you see that this is happening. And how do we make sure that it happens? Is through the programs like this one that we want to upload that came from yourselves, visiting Rwanda, knowing your history, connecting with your own people, falling in love with your own country, and wanting to do much more for your own country. And so here, we do that through Itorero. How many of you have come for Itorero or heard about it? You heard about it. So we have different categories of Itorero in Rwanda and programs for those in diaspora. And we have a program called Indangamirwa. How many went through Indangamirwa? Okay. Arnold and your colleague? You're Arnold? Okay. And some of you went through that. You have a mission. So all the youth of Rwanda are called Inkomeza Mihigo. Mukomezi Mihigo y'Inkotanyi. And when you go abroad or elsewhere, you're called Indangamirwa. Indangamirwa mu Nkomeza Mihigo. You're part of the youth of Rwanda, but you are Indangamirwa. Indangamirwa is goodwill ambassador. Goodwill ambassadors. Wherever you go, you represent Rwanda. You are not Arnold. You're not Yuhi. You're not anyone else. You are Rwanda. Whoever sees you sees Rwanda. And through that program, when we have this program, Itorero ry'Indangamirwa, we always assign you 2 missions. The first mission is gushakira Rwanda. Who remembers? Gushakira iki Rwanda? Mama mushakira iki Rwanda mu mahanga? Thank you, Arnold. Imbuto n'amaboko. Imbuto means seeds. Bring the technology. Bring the money. Bring people who have technologies or innovations. Bring it in Rwanda. Imbuto. You bring to plant in Rwanda. Then amaboko is the partners, the people you're working with, because they see how you work, how hardworking you are, how punctual you are, how committed you are. They want to partner with you. And when they partner with you, bring them to Rwanda. They bring innovation. They bring investment. They bring tourists. They bring everything that you would identify with them. So the other one is Urungano. We have also Itorero ry'Urungano. And some of you might have come through that Itorero as well. But we also, the like-minded network. Urungano ni agement, ni generation ni Urungano y'abantu bangana. Have same mind, have same understanding. And that's also, we have that program that we do for young people. And they go also the same mission that we're talking about. And also we do this through teaching our culture, imbyino Kinyarwanda, gutoza, kuvuga Kinyarwanda. First love your country by learning how to speak the language. As we struggle to speak Icyongereza n'Igifaransa, n'Icyespanol, n'Igiportuguese, n'izindi ndimi, also aspire to learn your language. How will you come back and speak to the grandparents when you're doing sign languages? You need to be speaking the language they speak. If you can't speak the language they speak, they will always look at you. Urwo mu Rwanda ruhe. Like they said, Rwanda rw'iyo, n'u Rwanda rwahe uturutsemo. So you need to learn. When we were doing morale, Honorable Minister, before you came, we had morale and we were putting on music, Rwandan music. Most of them were dancing Nyarwanda. So it is in you. Nababonye muri intore. Nabonye muzi no kubyina Kinyarwanda. Learn your dance, you learn your language, learn your culture, learn your food, your menu, what do you eat in Rwanda, learn the history, the dress code. You can even do business in that. In your country, that would be a unique selling proposition that you might have by providing the food stuff from Rwanda or showcasing the Rwandan culture, dance and dress. Or you can even do fashion. I saw in the profile, some of you are in creative industry. So some of you can do this as a business from your own culture. So there's a lot of opportunity that they can grab from here. But if you connect with your country and you connect with your culture, you always see a lot of opportunities. And you also always see areas of improvement. We can't say we have achieved it all. We have done our part, we're still doing it. But you can also contribute with the expertise, your knowledge, and you can also bring a lot of value addition to our own country. So I want to stop here and thank you very much for your attention.
Let me make comments on the first and the third question, the question from Nyagatare. I want just to say that Rwanda has a strategy. We have a Vision 2050. Vision 2050 aims at transforming Rwanda in a high-income country by 2050. And for 2035, we are aiming at transforming Rwanda into an upper middle income country. And to achieve that, we have strategies. We have the National Strategy for Transformation, NST1, from 2017 up to 2024, where we translate this vision into specific activities to be able to achieve what we are aiming to by 2035 and 2050. Okay, we wanted to transform Rwanda, be it in economy. We are aiming at an economic transformation. We are looking at technological transformation. It's good to be ambitious. It's good to be ambitious and to think about eventually having Kigali as the capital of the African continent at some point. If we achieve the integration of the African continent and they have it organize it like Europe is organized, and eventually have Kigali as the capital of Africa, that would be great. But we just need to work and to be able to implement our strategies and to look at these milestones we have in our Vision 2050 and monitor implementation and readjust our targets all the time. And eventually, by the time we achieve this high income country level, we'll be able to have also the African continent fully integrated. And why not? Kigali is the capital of our region first, and thereafter of the African continent. That will be possible, but we need to focus on what we have to achieve in terms of economic transformation, and there will be other, there will be just to have in mind that Kigali to be the capital of Africa should not be our main target. We need to just to transform the livelihoods of our people, and to build a strong economy, and eventually other developments will build on all these. But otherwise, we are investing in transforming our country, and we need you to come on board. Everyone from wherever he is should consider how he can contribute to that journey, to that transformation. But the main point is we have a vision we have adopted, we have strategies, we have milestones, we have targets, and we want you to come on board and be able to be part of the journey and be able to contribute. And if you can even go faster than what we have planned in our various documents and strategies, that would be great. So namwe mugomba kumenya izi document mvuga, this document Visual 2050, NST1, all these documents are online, so you can access them and look at various pillars and maybe be able to say, I fit in this particular one, and I'm going to make sure I can contribute. So, ibyo byose birahari, you just need to get informed, kandi buri wese akumva ko bimureba, ko buri wese afite uruhare ashobora kubigiramo. There are many threats which are destabilizing the continent in various areas. There are various conflicts here and there. We have conflict in Mozambique, we have conflicts in DRC, we have conflict in the Horn of Africa, we have very difficult security situation in the Sahel. There are many parts of the continent which are really under threat, security threats, and Rwanda is contributing in various ways to just find a solution to these conflicts. Rwanda is a member of the African Union, and Rwanda is contributing to the solutions which are being implemented. But I need also to remind you that Rwanda is contributing to the peacekeeping operations in a various ways. Rwanda is the third country in terms of number of troops we contribute to the peacekeeping operations. We have troops in Central African Republic, and we have troops in South Sudan. We have had troops in Sudan, in Darfur, and Rwanda is really doing its best to make sure we are contributing to the solution to those conflicts. But it is good to contribute to peacekeeping operations, but we are also contributing in just preventing these conflicts. Wherever we see that there is a potential conflict which is building up, we use through diplomatic channels to talk to various parties to make sure that we can prevent these conflicts. But we are doing that through the African Union, we are doing that through the United Nations, we are doing that through the regional economic communities we are members of. So we cannot develop our continent if we keep witnessing new conflicts coming up. We need to prevent these conflicts. We need to, whenever they are there, we need to contribute to settle them. So there are many ways at the diplomatic level, at peace keeping operations level. Rwanda is doing its best, and we will continue to do that. And it is good that Mukanya, we were talking about the ranking of Rwanda in various sectors. You know that our troops are well appreciated wherever they are deployed in these big peacekeeping operations. this is the reason why we keep receiving even more demand for us to deploy in various conflict areas, and we keep doing that in respect of our values, in respect of our doctrine, and that's the way Rwanda is contributing to address these security threats, and Rwanda is helping in addressing the conflict situations which are, unfortunately, which are, even today, there are new conflicts which are rising, and we are doing our best, and we keep doing that. Thank you.
I would want to say that majority of the youth are promising, and most of the youth, the Rwandan youth, are promising. Right from the initiative you have done, that shows you're very promising, and you're presenting others who are not here with you. So it is really impressive to see that the young people themselves who are born and raised elsewhere, they still want to come back and see what would be my contribution to the development of my country. How can I have a contribution? But first of all, let me know even the history and know my roots and know my history. We also find the Rwandan youth very promising because as a country, the youth are a reflection of the society. The youth are not a standalone group or cohort. The youth are a reflection of what we believe as a nation, a reflection of what the society believes, and a reflection of what, because it is socially constructed and socially transmitted values and all the processes we're talking about. So you are a product of a visionary leadership. You are a product of the visionary country. I don't think you can be contrary because you're standing on the shoulders of the giants. So we already see you very promising. And the other thing I want to emphasize as well, that as our nation, our vision, they talked about our vision 2050, they talked about what we have concluded at 2020, from 2000 to 2020. We see unity of our young people. They see themselves as Rwandans, and we see that even in schools, they have created association clubs, Nyarwanda clubs. They have organized themselves in cooperatives. They are trying to also solve problems within their communities, and this is very promising. So there's unity, and where there is unity, there's power, and there's always better outcomes and sustainability in the future. We also see young people, in the terms of accountability, we see you very accountable. We see you very accountable because niko mwarezwe. Accountability, for example, the newspaper that some of you talked about, and others that we see on social media, counteracting those who are providing wrong and distorting our history. And it is the youth themselves, yourselves, who are going to create our own story and tell our own story. If we don't tell our stories, others will tell what they want to say about us. And we should not go by how they call us and what they consider us. It should be us. How do we see ourselves and how do we see our future? So there's accountability in the young people that we are so proud of, and we see them as promising. We also see involvement, ownership, taking responsibility. I think His Excellency is the one who talked to the young people when he was interacting with them and said, you're not too young to take responsibilities. Because as young as they were, I think one of your colleagues mentioned that the liberators of this nation, the youth, majority of them were not even at the age that you have. They didn't even have the resources that you have. They didn't have much assets that can be proud of. They didn't even have a standing. They were refugees. But you have a standing, you have places of response, you have skills that you have acquired, you have knowledge, you have network, and all this is a strength, and we see you as strong pillars of our development agenda. Last but not least is your skills. The skills that you have is far better than the skills of the 27 years ago that we had. So with your skills, with your innovations, I think you are a big strength to our country, and your enthusiasm that you have, visiting all those places and becoming emotional, it touches your emotions and you're going to do something great. So keep on telling our story. No one is going to do that for us. And always be present. Always be present wherever you are and represent Rwanda. We consider you as Rwandans, and we've been having different programs, but we upload this one, which was initiated by you. But we've been having others that as government, we have been mobilizing the Rwandan living abroad to come back home, and those programs included, some of them was Come and See, Go and Tell. So go and tell your story, the Rwandan story, and there are others that I mentioned earlier when the young people would come for Itorero and then return back to their countries of residence. But if they return, that's why in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs there is a Rwandan Community Abroad Directorate, that RCA. They focus on how do we integrate you when you're back, or identifying what kind of needs that you have. So this department always works closely with our Department of Youth, that we have a department that is in charge of youth in Diaspora. And the program depends on the needs of the young people. Some of them want to visit, and we organize in this way that we did. Some others want to return and stay. But before, they always identify what are the opportunities that are there. For those who want to get used to a working environment, we have a program in the RDB that is in the Chief Skills Office that is focusing on internship. So if you want to be an internee in a specific field, there's an online platform where you can apply. Where do you want to go and do internship? And that program links you. It's first come, first served. That is also for the Rwandan youth in Rwanda, that we have that platform connecting job seekers and job providers, or employees and employers. And internship is also, we provide stipend, minimum stipend that is provided by the company itself that is hiring you, or organization, and the RDB provides also another part, like 50%, and the other organization provides 50%. So there's a program for internship and apprenticeship. We also have, we provide, whenever there is an opportunity for consultancies, job opportunities in Rwanda, or the kind of rare skills that you might be having and we need, there's also that website where we provide information so that you can apply and compete, whether jobs or consultancies where you have expertise. But also we allow, if you're joining, you're coming back home and you want to invest, or you have the other partners, you have partners that you want to come and work together and work in Rwanda, and you bring investors or partners that you want to do investment in Rwanda. There is an investment code which provides different incentives for investors that want to invest back home in different sectors, and we also have specific incentives that are designed for specific sectors, priority sectors. If you want in energy, it is a big priority sector. If you want into agro-processing, in the value chain of agro-processing, if you want to hospitality and tourism, if you're coming in education, or you're coming in the health sector, all those opportunities are available, but also on the websites that you can identify. So we don't have one program that's one size fits all. It is customized on individual needs and based on individual needs, and we customize it and we find what would be the relevance of what you want to bring on board and the value addition you want to bring. We also have programs for volunteerism. If you want to take a sabbatical leave, you want to come home and have 3 months working here, also that is provided. There's also a framework for that. So it depends on the field of expertise and where you want to participate. And coordination is done through RCA department. We also have in the ministry a team in charge that works with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have teams that work with them from the ministry. We have a youth corner on our website where we provide all opportunities that are available for you to interact and engage and be involved. Thank you. If I forgot anything, maybe you can help on that. Thank you.